Alright, so I tried to do this live and it wasn't working that well, but that's okay. Today we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna talk about some more thoughts about the vaccine, because just today I got a call from a friend of mine who was standing in the line to get his and apparently having second thoughts. If you're watching this video, you know who you are and I know you're laughing. So he texted me and said, hey, I know you did a video about your thoughts on the vaccine and it sounded like you were being very diplomatic, so I wanted to know what are your real thoughts. And my real thoughts are not much different from what I shared in a previous video, which should be linked somewhere in here, or if not, just check my previous videos. And it is because the conversation that we need to have is so much bigger than whether or not the vaccine is good, whether the risk of side effects and all of those things are good. Because it's really not about the vaccine itself, it is really about how efficient your immune system is to begin with. And that's gonna affect how you respond to either the virus or the vaccine. Alright, so the conversation is not just about, okay, are vaccines good, are vaccines bad, are you anti-vax, are you pro-vax? Really, for me, the issue is bigger than that, because I have clients that I've seen who have had to have bone marrow transplants where their entire immune system was reprogrammed. I've had other people who have autoimmune diseases, for example. And I was on a radio program this week, and one of the things that I shared on the program I think is pretty useful for everybody to know, which is that when the body is challenged by a foreign invader like a virus, or even a weakened form of the virus, or a modified form of the virus, or a vaccine, whatever the case may be, once the body encounters something that's unusual or abnormal, there are 3 steps that need to take place for there to be an efficient immune response. The first step is that the body has to be able to recognize that there is something foreign inside of it. So that's the first step. Can the body pick up that there's something wrong? Is it able to police itself accurately to say, okay, this is not right, this is not supposed to be the case? And also to differentiate between self and non-self. That's a whole other discussion. The second thing is, having identified that something is wrong, the body then needs to be able to neutralize the problem. So if it's a virus, if it's a weakened form of the virus, modified form of material that's supposed to trigger an immune response, the immune response needs to be thorough. It needs to be able to neutralize and eliminate the threat. Alright? And then the last thing is that having neutralized the threat, having identified that something is wrong and neutralized it, the whole idea now is that the body generates quite a bit of inflammation in response to that invading organism. And it creates a lot of debris, which then has to be cleared up. And you want to be able to signal to the system that, okay, the threat is neutralized, you can stand down, as it were, as you would in like those army movies. So it would settle down and say, okay, I've done my work, I can go back to normal resting level response now. And what we're seeing playing out in the news largely with the concerns about side effects from the virus or side effects from the vaccine is really just, in my opinion, a varying spectrum of immune responses, and either stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3 is not taking place adequately. And so depending on how efficient your immune system is prior to being exposed to the virus or to the vaccine, you may find that you get stuck in one or all of the phases. And in reality, the blood clot formation, this is something that we have to study as medical doctors. An immune response that triggers the formation of blood clots usually indicates that the body has gone so nuclear, it's going so all out to eliminate something, that it begins to incorporate the clotting system, which really, you don't see that triggered that readily unless the body is really going all out to stop something. And so what I believe is that a lot of the controversy surrounding the vaccine or the virus is not necessarily focused on the right thing. I think the focus should be how can we get our immune systems generally to be healthy enough such that whatever we face, we're able to adequately respond to it. And when we are able to work on that, then the conversation will be able to go way beyond just the vaccine or the virus, because as we are fully aware, this won't be the last time that we will need to respond to a virus or to a vaccine. And so how can we work on our immune systems to ensure that whatever it is that we face, we can respond adequately in those three phases: recognizing that something is wrong, identifying and neutralizing the problem, and then cleaning up afterwards to return to the resting state without forming blood clots, without forming all these different responses of the body. And so when I trained in 2017 in ozone therapy, we had to go all the way back to cellular and immune responses. And one of the things that my lecturer taught me, which I'll never forget, he said that it's really not the infection or the infecting organism or the foreign agent that causes illness. It is usually the body's response or lack thereof. And that's something that has stuck with me, because it's really not so much about the virus, it's how the body responds to the virus. It's not so much about the vaccine itself, but how effectively your body is able to respond to the vaccine. And so I had a lady come to the office today, for example. I had already suspected that she had, not today, this week, I'd already suspected that she had some autoimmune type illnesses. And of course, when she got the vaccine, she had a really rough time. She had very high fevers and she had joint pains and all of that. Now, I'm not going to say to her, well, you know, the vaccine is bad, or that's why that happened, because the vaccine, you should never have taken it. I'm looking at the patient in front of me and I'm saying, based on the fact that her immune system was already dysfunctional, when she was exposed to a challenge, her body over-responded to it. And as a result, she had those symptoms. And this is why I am talking more and more about using ozone therapy to help people with the virus, because it not only kills the virus itself, it helps the body in terms of balancing the response. So if we can balance the response of the immune system, if it's too reactive, then we kind of subdue it a bit, and if it's not reacting quickly enough, we can augment its ability to respond. And that's why I talk about it so much, because I've studied all the literature around it. Not all, I've studied as much as I can, and the training that I had in it convinced me that it was a useful tool to help with viral illnesses. And then having come back to Jamaica and tried it over the past 4 years, I've repeatedly seen people with viral illnesses come in, and within a few hours their body returns to normal. So I just wanted to share those thoughts so that we can think a little bit more broadly than just vaccine or virus or side effects or whatever the case may be, because there's a longer discussion that needs to be had. Even when this is all over, we'll still need to figure out how we can help our immune systems to be healthy and strong and effective. So I hope that helps. You can ask your questions as usual. As you can see, I'm driving on a beautiful highway here in Jamaica. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know as usual. Bless you.